Right, I just want to do a quick overview of using this Wi-Fi adapter. Michael Tweedy is going to do a much more in-depth and more advanced tutorial on this particular device in due course. But for those who've just recently picked up their adapters, I thought I'd give a brief overview of my experience and the things I've learned in the short time that I've had mine. The first thing to say is that you must obviously, having plugged in the adapter and switched on your telescope, you need to check that you are actually on the correct Wi-Fi. So as you can see here, it generates its own Wi-Fi and you connect to that. Interestingly, each adapter has its own address, so there's no risk of conflict between users if you've got a number of scopes being used in a given location. What I found on the use of a desktop such as I'm doing now is that you can only successfully open the application from within the folder that's produced out of the WinZip file that you download. So here's the contents of the folder. You simply click onto this icon here. As it happens, I've already opened it up just to save time. So this is what you get when you open the thing up. You will find that it has a button here to say connect. Now, if you're on a device such as this, where there's no GPS involved, it will ask you to enter the location. If you've got a device like a smartphone or a tablet that has got inbuilt GPS, it will take its location from that. Anyway, we'll press connect. It recognizes that it's an Alt-as mount. It gives you the inevitable message warning you not to look at the sun. Well advised, I'm sure. We just say OK to that. And then you're presented with this menu. These controls here move the scope, and not only up and down, but also on both axes together, which is unique and different from a handset. You've also then got these arrows left and right, which allow you to change the speed of the actual mount. So I'll move those up to 9, which is the maximum speed, just for the sake of convenience, really. Then you go to alignment. Now, in alignment, you're offered a number of options dependent on the sort of mount. The menu you'll get for an equatorial is different from the menu that you'll get for an Alt-as. But on the Alt-as, you've got 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, and this one, which I find quite interesting, which is north level alignment. This assumes, as always should be the case, that you've leveled the mount and that your scope is correctly pointing north. If you then go into that, you get presented first of all with a list of stars to choose as your first target, your first star. So we'll choose Vega. It then says choose a second star, and we'll choose Capella. So you've got 2 stars now for the alignment, Vega and Capella. It really doesn't require you to know where Vega or Capella are, or what in fact Vega and Capella are, other than being stars. Because then when you press begin alignment, it will ask you, is your level scope level, and is it pointing north, which it is, and which you should always be doing anyway with this type of mount. So you press next, and it will now take the scope to Vega. Now, depending on how well you've aligned it, it may not get it exactly there, but when it gets to the end of its tracking to that object, it will ask you to refine the position and to adjust that manually, which is exactly what you would do if you were using a handset. You also get this flashing of red on the controls here, which is a mechanism to allow you to in part overcome any backlash within the system. So you just click on that, and then you make your manual adjustment, bring it into the center of view of the eyepiece, and once you're happy with that, you click on this icon, which will then move it to the next star. So click there. Now it's going to find Capella. On equatorial mounts, and I've only had a quick look on my HEQ5 Pro, it will offer you a different range of options for alignment, including the one I tend to favour is bright star alignment, where you find one star and it finds the second star, which, given that you know a few stars, is quite easy to operate, and I found is quite accurate. So again, it's bringing it to Capella. No flashing because it feels it's moved the right way in terms of the backlash. You can fine tune it into the center of field of view once you've done that, and you'd probably do it at a lower speed. You'd probably take the speed down, say to 4. You adjust the alignment and then you press again center, and down here it tells you alignment successful. Now, once having got a successful alignment, you can go back to the main menu where you have a number of other options. Star, perversely, also includes the solar system. So under star, you've got planets of the solar system, named stars, and double stars. If we just have a quick look at planets, there's not much visible at the moment. I mean, let's say Neptune. If we say Neptune, you can say then go to, and the scope will go to where it believes Neptune to be. And with every one of these objects, it will give you the option of a manual refinement of the position. And I think this is exactly as you would get with the escape function on a handset, that you can continually improve the accuracy of pointing. Again, you've got a little flashing indicator here that needs you to click on that just to overcome any issues of backflash or backlash. And then you click on that. So that's gone now to Neptune. If you go back out of there and you look at Deep Sky, what Deep Sky offers is a menu that's variable according to the catalog that you're looking for. If we say Messier, if I say M13, the cluster in Hercules, so it pulls it up, it tells you its position. You can say then go to, and away it will go again, moving to the cluster in Hercules. Just make sure the lead doesn't catch. And again, you have this backlash adjustment, and you can tweak, adjust manually to further refine positioning. That's how that works, and it's pretty much the same function on all objects. Within the utility, you have a couple of good things actually. You have what tonight's best objects are, so you click on that and it gives you a list of objects in the night sky that are particularly suitable for the date and time, and it will give you the option to go to those. It splits them out into deep sky, planets, and double stars. Come back out of that, the other function that's quite useful is hibernate. When you go to hibernate, and I will do this now, it asks you whether you want to hibernate at the current position of the scope or whether you want to go back to the home position. So I'm going to go back to the home position, and you see it's brought it down to 0 on the scale. and it will go back round again until the telescope is pointing north, and at which time it will give you a message telling you can turn off the power once it's recorded the data for the actual position of the telescope. Now this is something that, as far as I know, is not, it comes under the function of parking the scope in utilities on the handset. Hibernate is a term that I'm more used to through the Celestron handset, but it's the same sort of function. It's allowing you to just pick up without redoing the alignment when you come back to the scope again. Particularly useful if you've got a scope in an observatory that's permanently mounted. It basically means you only have to do alignments infrequently. So it's coming round and bringing the scope back to north, ready to actually turn the scope off. It's just finally adjusting the position, and shortly you will get a message. There we go. Hibernate data saved. You can now power off the mount. If instead you move the mount, that data will be lost or removed. But anyway, I'm now going to turn the scope off by unplugging in this case, and it's now in a position that you can turn off the application, and the scope will be ready for when you next return to it. If you haven't moved it, it will be in position and ready to go. Hope this has been useful. Look forward to seeing you all again soon. Bye.